Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television and radio talk show. Thank you so much for watching and listening every single day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zone, as we all get to ride home with you in the afternoons. It's always a pleasant run. I want to thank all of our new sponsors. I wanted to mention a few of our new sponsors as well. Now, most of these folks are at the Anderson Mall in Anderson, South Carolina. Jeweler's Touch. Let me tell you about Jeweler's Touch. They sell jewelry, but they also repair jewelry, and they know exactly what they're doing as well. So go ahead and check them out, Jeweler's Touch, and located in the Anderson Mall. Also wanted to mention another sponsor, and you're going to laugh at some of these names, but now this is a good name. It's Adama Naturals and Cafe. Alan Mendenhall knows me. I'm all into natural products on every single thing. She sells a lot of teas, face care, skin care, for men and women as well, and just it's all natural stuff. She buys only natural products. As a matter of fact, she's going to be buying some natural things from my garden as well. So go ahead and check her out. It's Anima. Jackie, you're going to love Jackie, and she'll take good care of you. Also, Marioski at the mall. They are right at the mall, right at the entrance. Then you can if it's raining outside, you can also walk in the side view as well. So go ahead and check them out. And let me tell you about what they do. They charge very little and just pile the food on your plate. You'll wind up having to ask for a to-go plate. They really put it, and all the food is good. And when you walk in, you can actually smell this restaurant from other stores. It smells so good. That food's going to invite you in. This is the one that I think Alan's going to really love. The name of this one is called Kiss My Glass. And so what? and I said, you know what? As long as I live, if I get dementia someday, I'm going to remember the name of your business. I mean, it is, and this is what she does, nothing is cookie cutter. Okay, they had an awesome Christmas. A lot of customers came in and bought some things from them. Things are personalized. You can even bring your own stuff in. If you have something that used to be your grandmother's and you want to put a saying on it, you can do that. She can take care of you no matter what. So go ahead and check her out. Now, she has a store full of wonderful, again, one-of-a-kind things. Valentine's Day is coming up. This is something you can do for that special loved one, too. So go ahead and check all these folks out. I appreciate every single one of you. All of our customers have been with us for years. We appreciate you as well. Alan Mendenhall is with me right now. And Alan, it's always so good to be with you. And I love talking finance with you, but I've got a question for you. Okay, so let's talk about 2024. And I had a great year, 2024. A lot of folks said they didn't. I think it probably depends on what political side you're on. But anyway, mine was great. And then let's talk about what's in store for us for 2026. What are your thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts are I really want to go eat now and drink tea after those sponsors. That all sounded wonderful. But yeah, I think 2025 was a better year than most people have admitted. And I think it's proven that our economy in the United States is pretty durable, pretty adaptive. If you think about this, we're still coming off massive disruptions from the pandemic, from inflation shocks, from aggressive monetary tightening. We had interest rates held down at artificially low numbers during the pandemic, and then they were yanked up. They raised them up really high. And so in light of all the changes and disruptions, especially going from one administration to the next, and I think our economy has proven pretty strong. We had uneven but persistent growth. Output expanded. GDP, chiefly supported by consumer spending. Consumer spending was up. We see a lot of business investment. We see innovation in technology. I know people have a lot of different opinions about artificial intelligence. They're both scared of it, but also optimistic about it. Mm-hmm. I think that's an industry that we're going to see expand in 2026.
I think there'll be an explosion.
I think it's got to be. I mean, if you just look at higher ed, when I left higher education just in May of this year, people were still talking about how to integrate artificial intelligence into the classroom and how to sort of moderate it and what it means. And now entire infrastructures within the university are predicated on artificial intelligence integration that has already occurred.
Yeah, you're looking at it now in tech schools. Piedmont Technical College, I went by and talked with them, one of our new sponsors. And so the interesting thing about it, I asked about AI and they brightened up. I'm telling you, they said, you know what, it's getting here into the tech field and it's going to turn that industry around.
Yeah, I think 100%, and everything that flows from it now. I think we might even be able to see per worker in AI sort of rising output. So if each of us is more productive because of the assistance of artificial intelligence, that's a good thing. And I think we'll see more investment in it. And from my perspective, private investment, which is always better than government investment. And I think we've got a pretty strong labor market. It's remained healthy. Unemployment has ticked up. It hasn't just shot out of space, but it's ticked up. We didn't see mass layoffs like you might have expected from the naysayers' predictions. So I think we're seeing positive signs, positive wage gains, and I think the economy is on the whole fairly healthy right now.
Well, some folks are negative. I mean, it doesn't matter, and I wanted to mention this. I did, you and I are researchers. So one time just to get on myself, just to research the Deep Depression, it was a terrible time. But, a lot of millionaires came out of that. When you would think, well, there's no way that's ever going to happen. And it did.
Yeah. And I think what is always helpful, no matter which period you're in, is to create the conditions and incentives necessary for entrepreneurs to innovate. Entrepreneurs bear a lot of risk, and who knows what the statistics are, but let's just say for every 9 who fail and 1 succeeds, that one person's success contributes exponentially to the economy writ large. And so we need an economy that allows these people who are willing to bear the risks for themselves, but unintentionally for everybody in society to operate, to do what it is they do. And I think that's how we get the unique American dynamism that has made our country so prosperous since its inception. And I think we mentioned AI. I think we're going to see a lot of innovation in AI. But from that, every field. So artificial intelligence will be used in energy. Artificial intelligence will be used in housing. Artificial intelligence will be used in manufacturing. It'll be used in all these fields in ways that we can't actually foresee. And that's a great and beautiful thing.
I think it'll have to be bridled some. I mean, you got to think about this: kids with test scores doing reports, and I think that can take away some of their mind. But I can also see it building into their mind in a good way.
Yeah, I think it can be used for harm, for good, but just like everything, the internet, it can be used for harm or good. People can look at really bad stuff on the internet, but they can also do a lot of really good stuff on the internet. Ultimately, these things are means, they're tools, they're mechanisms, they're technologies. And what happens with them depends on sort of the moral compass of the person using them. You can use these things for good or ill. I can use a knife to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and feed my children with it, or I can use a knife to stab somebody. It's not the knife's fault that I've done one or the other. It's the agency of the person. It's the moral state of the user. So it would be weird to blame the knife for my use of it. And I think the same concept applies with something like the internet or artificial intelligence. And of course, we don't want young people becoming dependent on artificial intelligence. We don't want artificial intelligence thinking on their behalf. And so we still have to cultivate critical thinking skills. We still have to teach them how to use artificial intelligence constructively and responsibly. And for many of us, that still is a learning process. How do we use it constructively? How do we use it responsibly so that we are able to impart with wisdom the lessons we're learning from artificial intelligence?
Absolutely. But, a lot of times, I think it's up to the parents. Because back in the day, back in the 1990s, I've told you the story about Brad comes in from school and he says, I've got to have a calculator. And I mean, I'm in the math. I represented my school in a math contest, and went on to the finals and all that stuff. And so Brad is a math whiz. And so I'm thinking, he just wants a calculator because everybody else is getting one. And I said, no, you're not getting one. He said, the teacher said I had to have one. And so I called her and she said, yeah, he's got to have one, Donna, for class. And I said, that's cheating. And she said, that's not cheating, Donna. And because when I went to school, here I am going back to the olden days, in the 1970s, I remember in math class, Dr. Runyon said anybody who brings in one of those Texas Instruments from Radio Shack is going to be expelled. You could be expelled for bringing a calculator in. Because my parents wouldn't let me have one anyway. My dad would say, use your own noggin, okay? For the math, use your own, okay? But things have changed and we have to kind of adapt to them as well. I'm not talking everything from the old school, but I'm just saying there are things we do have to adapt to. Now, on getting a little bit older, I'm a lot older than you. You could be my grandson, probably. But anyway, well, it's probably not my grandson.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
But anyway, going back to the 1980s, I started working for the cell phone industry. And I remember people saying, oh, everybody walking around with one of them things on their hand. Now the people who naysayed and said that won't live without their cell phone. And I also remember getting the laptops and people were saying, computers are going to take over the world. They're going to take over jobs. Actually, it increased the job market because of people like me who tear them up all the time. Somebody has to repair them. And I mean, I just see all this happening. You got your naysayers out there, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. I think the more we embrace it and the more we do it the right way, I think the more successful it's going to be.
Well, of course, all technologies create certain anxieties when they're new. Even the printing press. People had high anxieties about the printing press. And one of the anxieties was, heaven forbid, what if they mass print Bibles in the common idiom? What if Martin Luther translates the Bible into German and everybody can read it? Oh my goodness, that would be scary, because then everybody can have their own interpretations and we wouldn't be able to mediate that's really scary. And of course, now that seems absurd. We all have a Bible in our own language and we can all read it. And it's not a wild thing, but there was a lot of violence in Europe over these very issues. So there can be anxiety around technology that is perfectly understandable and possibly even reasonable at the time. But human beings are incredibly dynamic, and we have, over the course of centuries, learned to adapt to new technologies, learn to use them for our collective benefit in ways that may not have always been expected at the time of their invention.
Well, when I was at Piedmont Technical College, because I'm older, a lot of older folks will not be accepting of things. So when the guy asked me what I thought about AI, and I said, well, I'll put it to you this way, robotics, I would much rather send a robot out. And if there is like a crime scene or if the possible bomb threat or something, I would rather send the robotics team out there rather than a human being inside that building.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's things we need to think about safety with this.
Exactly.
We just have to think outside the box, basically, and not think so much about what could happen, but the wonderful things that can come out of it.
I would love one that changes diapers right now. That would be great. Not mine, but but I have seen in the news, there's a lot of talk about these humanoid robots that are being trained to do laundry and vacuuming and that kind of thing. I've been
waiting on that for a long time, ever since I saw the Jetsons. That would be an awesome thing. Let's go into a commercial break. We're a little bit behind. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of the Cobb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring. But the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television and radio talk show where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zones. I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. The success of the show with wonderful guests, and we've got one with us right now. His name is Alan Mendenhall, and Alan is an author and he's a speaker. How can folks find your books?
The best way is probably to go to my website, which is www.alanmendenhall.com. That's ALLENMENDENHALL.
Now, you are also writing articles. You want to talk about those for a few minutes?
Sure. Yeah, I do a weekly column for 1819 News, which is Alabama's bold and innovative conservative online newspaper, and has really, really launched to heights I didn't expect a few years ago. And so applause to Brian Dawson and the team there at 1819 for all the hard work that they've been doing. And so I enjoy my weekly column. Right now it comes out every Monday. For about 8, 9, maybe 10 months, it was coming out at just random days of the week. And my deadline was Thursday, and I would get it to the editor anytime before Thursday, and I just never knew what it was going to run. But since Phil Williams became U.S. attorney, he had the Monday slot. And so I have taken over that Monday slot. And so now I know every Monday my article will appear there. And Donna, I write about anything I can think of. When you have to come up with an article every week, sometimes you write about random stuff. So I have a piece coming out next week about the movie Song Sung Blue, which I loved. I actually I don't know whether I should admit this or not, but I like Neil Diamond's music. I think Neil Diamond's music is great. So it was fun, and I think Hugh Jackman was great. I thought Kate Hudson was great. So that's what will be coming out next week. But sometimes I write about matters of policy, the legislative session. Sometimes I write about politics. Sometimes I write about arts, music, my children. You just never know. But I also write 2 pieces a month for The Freeman, which is a publication of the Foundation for Economic Education. And it's now being run on Substack. Fee has put it on Substack. So historically, it was a print magazine. There's a famous picture of Ronald Reagan reading it with Nancy Reagan on his shoulder, and they're on Air Force One reading The Freeman. Well, I think it was 2014-ish when Fee stopped publishing The Freeman as a print-bound book, but magazine, excuse me. But it has since revived it. It revived it in 2025, so that was a great thing for 2025. And like I said, it's on Substack now. So talking about innovation, this is one area that we might see innovation where Fee can generate profits through subscribers who read it. And I love writing for The Freeman. It's fun. The editor is wonderful. She's got a PhD from, I think it's Cambridge. It's either Oxford or Cambridge. I think it's Cambridge. So it's a very erudite young lady, and does a great job with the pieces. And so I love that opportunity. Now, all of this means I have to write at least 6 pieces a month, which when I was in higher ed, I could not have done because I was teaching and grading. But now I don't teach and grade. And so I have the freedom to do more writing, more speaking, more shows like yours, although we've been doing our show together for about a decade now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's always been a pleasure to have you on the show. I'll have to say that too. Our audience loves you too. So, because you speak the truth and you speak what's really out there. Let's forecast, or you do it, the year 2026. What do you think? Because we never know. We could have World War III break out. But
that's true.
What do you think is going to happen?
You never know. So let me begin with this qualifier before our forecast. So I was raised on the Austrian School of Economics, which emphasizes epistemological humility. So people who come out of the Austrian school do hesitate to give predictions or forecasts.
Right.
Having said that, because there's all kinds of things that can affect the economy, acts of God. We could have a hurricane, we could have a tornado, there could be a terrorist attack, all these things that are unforeseeable that can affect the economy, a pandemic, for heaven's sake. Right. But with all those qualifiers in mind, I think we can be sure that Trump's going to replace Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve, which means he's going to get what he wants on interest rates being lowered. So that's one thing that I would be stunned if it didn't happen in 2026. We've already talked about AI and how more investment and more production in that sector will appear. I think that's a given too. I think that's probably where most eyes are focused. But I think we will see some job creation again. I think we'll continue to see wage growth. It may be modest, but we'll continue to see it. I think in the political sphere, we're going to see people turn toward midterms. And so that means that we'll see politicians of both sides of the aisle trumpeting either what they perceive to be the negatives or the positives of the economy. So I would expect the Democrats to focus on housing and healthcare because of Obamacare and everything that went into the government shutdown in the past year. And if there's any problem with healthcare, which there's always a problem with healthcare. So to be guaranteed that the Democrats are going to highlight that and blame it on Republicans and blame it on the government shutdown, that's just going to happen. But I think we've seen inflation come down. We've seen it tamed. It's not cured, so to speak, but it's definitely been tamed. And so I think that will continue, and I think we'll see stable consumer spending. So I predict, with all of those qualifiers I mentioned earlier, that 2026 will be a good year for our economy.
But you know something, I keep looking back on the year 2020 when the pandemic held, and people were talking about, well, my spending, I can't afford but these are the same people who were spending unreasonable amounts of money going to fancy restaurants and all. I mean, you can't have it both ways. It's either good or it's bad. I mean, again, they're still spending money on stupid stuff.
Yeah, and so we talked
about the ones who are complaining.
We talked about the term lifestyle inflation in an episode that we very recently recorded. And I think that remains a problem, especially with young people who are out making money for the first time. And rather than putting it away for their 50s and 60s and enjoying the beauties of compound interest, are instead using it to upgrade their lifestyle. Instead of putting it away where the money can just naturally multiply, they're saying, I want to buy this new dress, or I want to go out to eat, or I want this new bottle of wine. All things that might be great. I love new bottle of wine. I love eating out. And so I actually save to make sure that I have the money to eat out because I love food. It's just one of these vices I've got. But young people are particularly susceptible to, I think, lifestyle inflation. And that's because many of them sort of grew up in an era of general prosperity. The 90s were an incredibly prosperous era, before you had the dot-com boom. You had all this internet technology coming up that was just exploding. Markets were booming, and you had welfare reform in 96. You had a balanced budget. I mean, who would have imagined? And now we're over $37 trillion in debt as a country. That's a shocking figure.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a question. We've got about 2 minutes left in this segment. Okay, I've been hearing for decades that, no more storefronts are going away, all those kinds of things. But I've been hearing that for several decades. Do you think that's ever going to happen?
Well, I think you will see, I don't think storefronts are just going to go away, but I think what is in the stores may change. I think people still want a restaurant experience. Now, that may change in terms of style. I've noticed that, at least in the college town where I live, you have a lot more order at the counter and then get a table and put your number up on your table kind of thing. And so rather than to sit down, have a server come up, and I've noticed even in fast foods, you have a lot of automated ordering and ordering on a computer screen. So things are going to change, but people are going to always eat. And so we might not have a Sears, but we may have some other thing in that shop. So I don't know that storefronts are going to. Humans are humans. We crave interaction with other humans, and I don't see that just disappearing from our natures as rational agents.
I just don't either. I think it's still with us. I really do. It'll just be another brand. It'll be just another way to do it. And that's been happening for years, decades, centuries. Alan, thank you so much for being with me. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. You're the reason we do what we do. Continue sending email. I love your email. Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. And I take every single one of them very seriously. But again, thank you so much. And thank you, Alan, for being with us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Donna.